Dear students, dear aspirants, hello and welcome to this video lecture series for CLAT SATHEE. I am Dr. Animesh, your criminal law instructor, and today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic. That is what we have: extortion, robbery, and dacoity. In the last class, we have discussed theft and extortion, theft and criminal misappropriation. In that, I gave you a basic idea about what is property and how theft works. Obviously, theft is about taking a property out of the possession of someone dishonestly. Now, dishonestly, we discussed that it means if somebody intends to cause wrongful gain or wrongful loss to another person, wrongful gain to himself and wrongful loss to another person, that's called dishonesty. We discussed all that. Today, we are going to discuss extortion, which is again a very interesting offense. Now, extortion, many people know what the basic premise of this term is, this offense is. So extortion basically means taking the property of someone by threatening that person. So if somebody tries to take property by threatening, we call it extorting the property, extortion. In layman's term in Hindi, we call it rangdari or hafta wasuli, protection tax. Obviously, if you are a Bollywood fan, you must have come across multiple occasions, or even now if you read newspaper, there are multiple instances in which people are accused of extorting others. Means they are, it is alleged that they have asked for money and they have said, they have threatened that if the money is not paid, some kind of harm will be there. So primary logic of extortion is very simple, that if somebody threatens another person, that yes, give me money or something bad is going to happen to you, that is the meaning of extortion primarily. Now, it is different from theft on multiple counts. First count is obviously theft, and extortion is different because in theft, you are taking the property out of the possession of someone without their consent. Here in extortion, you are threatening someone. Here, threat is the most important part. In theft, there is no need of theft. You are simply taking the property of someone without their consent. But if a threat is involved, if I say to you, if I, like a pickpocketer picks the pocket of a person, takes away the wallet, mobile phone, or whatever the case may be, they take it away, the other person might be unaware, or they take the property and they run away. The other person they do not have to do anything. The property is taken away. Extortion means there is an element of threat. There is an element of coercion. Means the other person will come and will say, see, either you give me this property or something dangerous will happen to you. That is the primary meaning of extortion. Now let's talk about the ingredients of this provision. The first element of this provision is intentionally putting a person in fear of injury. Now everything is interesting. Intentionally puts a person in fear of injury in the sense that if I threaten someone that an injury will happen to you or to any other person. Extortion does not mean that it should only happen in respect of the person being extorted. It can happen in respect of others as well. Now I'll give you few examples. Suppose I go to a person and I threaten that person, see, either you give me money or I'll stab you. Now that obviously constitutes a threat in which I have threatened that person with injury. Now, on the other hand, if I say that, see, either you pay me the money or I will harm your son, harm your mother, or any person in whose life the other person is interested in. Or on the other hand, for that matter, that if I threaten that I will kill a stranger even, suppose somebody comes to you and says that either you pay the money or I will kill the people who are walking on the street. They say that I have planted a bomb on a railway station, and unless and until you give in to my demands, I will detonate that bomb, killing hundreds of people or killing even one person for that matter. Now, whether that particular threat will affect you, The answer is yes. Obviously, you are a rational person. Somebody's life is important to you, even if that person is a stranger. So, goes without saying that you will give in to the demands and you will pay or you will give that property to that person. Okay. So, it's very important to understand in an extortion, the threat might be to the victim himself, means the person from whom the property is demanded. The threat might be given to him, or it might be in respect of anyone else. It might be in respect of the government. It might be in respect of a actual person, biological person, or what we call a artificial person. To give you a bit idea about that, see, if I say that I will harm the national interests of India, Bharat interest, that either you give me the money or I will sell the state secret to someone. Suppose, obviously, government has a lot of state secrets, a lot of issues that they want to protect. So if I threaten that either I give a threat to, let's say, Prime Minister, that either you pay me the money or I will expose or I will share this crucial detail, important detail, state secrets to the enemy country. And that constitutes extortion? Yes. Here the threat is not made to the Prime Minister personally that I will harm you, but the threat is in respect of the government. Now, the government is also a person. Any person does not mean a physical person. Suppose I threaten that I will do something to bankrupt your company. That will constitute extortion? Yes. If I threaten someone that, okay, I will burn your companies go down. Obviously, if I am the manager of a company and somebody comes to me and says that I'm the owner of the company, let's say shareholder of a company, and somebody comes to me and say, see, I will burn the go down of that company. Now the company will suffer the loss. Now company is not a human being, but nonetheless it is a person. The term, the personality, the term person is very interesting. It encompasses living being and non-living being which has been given personality by the law. And company is considered to be a competent person. Company is also like human being. A human being is a natural person. A company, the government, the institution, government or private institutions, they are all considered as persons. They are all like humans because they have rights and duties. They exist. Like universities, you all will be part of some national law university next year. You will know that university is also a person. University acts through the registrar and vice chancellor and everyone. But nevertheless, they are a person. And they are, obviously, they have rights and duties and they can be extorted as well. If somebody extorts a registrar that I will burn the university, you pay me the money, that will constitute extortion, because here a person is in fear of injury, not the person from whom the money is asked, or money or property is asked. Any other person's, if the threat is to any other person as well, that will constitute extortion. Similarly, injury. Now, injury can be said to be to the human body. Obviously, somebody threatens you with physical harm. मर्डर कर देंगे, हाथ तोड़ देंगे, पैर तोड़ देंगे. That constitutes extortion, obviously. But injury does not mean only harm to body. Injury does not only mean physical injury. Injury means harm to a person's body, a person's property, and some person's reputation. If I threaten your property, that is also constitutes injury. If I say I will, suppose somebody takes your phone and says that you give me money or I'll break your phone, that constitutes extortion. Many people will give more price because a lot of information is there. That happens. See, the ransomware in your laptop, sometimes there is ransomware which says that I will lock your laptop or make it inaccessible unless and until you pay that money. That is ransomware. That is a form of extortion. Injury to property. Similarly, injury can be to reputation. Suppose I say that I will publish some untrue, false information about you. I will defame you. That is extortion. Now that is, see, somebody blackmailing, you understand? If that I will show a video about you. Now, there is a very distasteful example, unfortunate example that happened with one of my students, that he was in some kind of shady website, and a particular person started stripping and recorded him, and after that he then started asking for money. That constitutes extortion, yes, because they said that I have your video and I will share your video with everyone that you know. That becomes a problem. It happens with many girls, many boys. They're all there's a whole gang of people who are doing these kind of activities. So we all have to be very cautious, but that constitutes extortion. If a person simply says that I will destroy your reputation, now that reputation is also a very, very important thing. So if somebody threatens to destroy the reputation, that constitutes extortion. That means that there is some kind of extortion to it, putting a person in fear of injury. Now, injury can be to a person's body, it can be to a person's property, or it can be to a person's reputation. Then we have something called dishonestly, obviously. All the offenses against property have this element, dishonestly, wrongful gain or wrongful loss. If somebody is not putting you in fear, like I'll give you a very simple example. Suppose you gave money to someone, okay? Now you gave money to someone and they are not returning it. So you go to them and you say, see, a lot of time has passed. You said, ki kal paise de dunga, tomorrow I'll return the money, but you have not returned till now. So either you return it to me till now, or I will file a police case against you, or I will file a court case against you. Now, and that person gives you your money. Now, this does not constitute extortion. Why so? Very simple logic is that I am not threatening that person with any kind of wrongful loss, and I am not supposed to gain any unlawful gain will not happen to me. In the sense, suppose I have lent him 5,000 rupees and I'm asking you, give me my 5,000 rupees back, I will go to, or else go to the police. Now, if I go to the police or I go to the court, whatever happens to him is obviously legal. There is no wrongful loss to that person. And the moment he pays me, suppose he pays me 5,000 rupees, I do not gain anything unlawfully because that money is my money. There is no loss to him, there is no gain to me. So I even threaten that person, I will file a case against you. That is even not injury. Even I threaten that person, I will take your property worth 5,000 rupees. That is also not considered as extortion because I'm taking my money back. So that does not constitute. Dishonest intent must be there. For dishonestly, somebody has to lose wrongfully, or somebody has to gain wrongfully. Now I'll give you another example. See, suppose I know some very problematic information about someone. Let's say, and that is true. Suppose I saw somebody committing crime. He committed a crime, true. Now I say to that person that either you pay me money or I'll go to police and I'll tell you what you have done. Now whether this is extortion or not. Some person might say, what I am threatening is a legal act. Obviously, if I saw a crime, I have every right to go to the police and report that. It's not what we call intentionally putting in person in fear of injury. Obviously, that will be injurious to his body. Now, injury is rightful injury or not, that is not material. Even if I threaten him with prosecution, or that I will go and testify in the court against him, that still constitutes extortion because I am asking money from him. Now, if he gives me money, it is his wrongful loss. And even if, let's say, he has made that money by crime, still the money is not legal for me to take. मेरे लिए वो पैसा अपवित्र हराम है. So obviously, if that money I have taken, that is a wrongful gain to me. That was not my money to take. So that constitutes extortion. That will constitute extortion, and thus it, even if somebody threatens someone with legal proceeding with an intent to wrongfully gain from it. Farji case file, somebody says to someone, either you give me money or I will file a case against you. See, that happens. There are examples to it. Sometimes the relationship gets sour. The boy says that I'll make the videos or text public. The girl says either you pay me money or I will file a case of rape against you. Whatever says. When the relationships go sour, a number of extortionist activities are there. Extortionist elements, I'm not sure it's a right word, but the people having tendency to extort others, they use a number of excuses for that. So even if they are threatening legal proceeding, which is per se is not a wrongful threat, but you are threatening injury and your intent is dishonest because you seek to enrich yourself unjustly. If I am asking the money, how can I ask for money? That's not my money. That's why the example I gave, it was my money and I was asking for only that money. If I lend him 5,000, I say either you pay me back 50,000 or I will file a case against you, then that will constitute extortion. Because here it becomes dishonest. So dishonest is very important. So if I put a person in fear of injury and I induce that person or any other person that is put in fear, I induce him to deliver property or valuable security. First, there should be fear and then there should be inducement. Inducement means demand. That property should be delivered or valuable security. Now see, here the qualification, the adjective of immovable property is not there. Movable property is not there. In theft, we discussed that it is only about movable property. Here it simply says property, means any property. Suppose I say to you that you vacate this house, your own house, and give this house's possession to me or I will kill you. Now this constitutes extortion because house is obviously a immovable property, but still that will constitute extortion. If I simply go to you and say कि ये जो land है अब मेरी है and you pay me money or I will not give you back this land. There's a very interesting movie which revolves around this theme called Khosla Ka Ghosla, in which there is the lead character, very capable actor, Shri Anupam Kher ji. He bought a plot and that plot was captured by some people, a local politician or someone. And when he went कि भाई मेरी जमीन है, मुझे वापस तो ना कि आप 10-15 लाख रुपए दो तो हम आपको जमीन वापस दे देंगे. Very, very problematic, very disheartening. That happens, unfortunately. कब्जा करना जिसको कहते हैं, तो कब्जा करने के बाद क्या होता है? You'll have to pay extortion money to get that kabja removed. Now, kabza you'll have to pay in order to get the kabza removed. So that is extortion. Although the property is immovable, but still it will constitute extortion. Then we have another very interesting term, valuable security. Now, valuable security has a very complex meaning, but I'll give you a very simple example. Any paper that has value is valuable security. That is not money and it's not a property per se, but it is a proof of ownership of something, or it's simply paper, it's simply money in the form of negotiable instrument. I'll give you example, very simple. Now, zameen ke kagaj is valuable security. A share certificate is a valuable security. A debenture certificate, those commerce students will obviously understand. But there are papers which have high value. Suppose I bought a share of a company. Now, obviously, now it is in form of demat, but still, if I have the certificate of that, that is a valuable security. Check, everybody will understand. A bearer check is a valuable security. I threaten you, you give me check of rupees 20 lakh, a bearer check, you cut a check or I'll kill you. And that person cuts a check. Now the check is printed on a paper worth rupees 10 paisa. But the value, when it is signed and amount is written, that is a valuable security. I can go to the bank and can get that check cashed. I can put it in my account. That is a valuable security. So if I threaten you to pay me in a valuable security, I say कि आप मुझको जमीन के कागज दे दें, या फिर आप मुझको अपने सारे शेयर्स के डॉक्यूमेंट या सेविंग सर्टिफिकेट और सॉवरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड्स, व्हाटएवर. It's a great thing that everything is now digital, and that all these kinds of thing of all this extortionist method I don't believe will be applicable. But I'm very, very sure that if more the digitization process will not need this particular definition. अब तो सब कुछ digitized है, तो valuable security की value कम हो गई. Even people are now not cutting check as much as they used to do. Everything NEFT, RTGS, transferring money is the easiest job. Although earning it is still difficult. If you can earn, you can transfer it at any point of time. Earning it is very difficult, but transferring it is very simple. Okay. So extortion primarily has this idea that you put on the in person appear in fear of injury, and you ask the person who is put in fear to deliver some property or valuable security, and your intention is dishonest. You are not playing a prank or something. If you are putting a prank, that does not constitute extortion. And see, obviously, you should intentionally put a person in fear of injury, and that must be the intent of the person. Yes, I'll give you a very simple example, a very interesting example. Suppose I am seeking charity, and I say to some people कि भाई पैसा दे दो, भगवान बुरा करेगा, भला करेगा, and those who do not will pay, the God is listening, God is watching. Other person gets in fear of injury कि भाई अरे this person is extorting me. He's saying that those who will not pay, who will not do charity, will suffer the consequences in the afterlife, and they will go to hell and not to heaven. And files a case कि भाई this person extorted. Obviously, if I am seeking charity, I am allowed to speak a lot of things, but I'm not putting a person in fear of injury. I am simply threatening that person, not with injury, but some divine punishment. Now, divine punishment is not injury within the meaning of law. So if I say कि अगर आप पैसा नहीं देते हो, है ना, you see social media पे आगे forward करो वरना फेल हो जाओगे एग्जाम. That does not constitute extortion. That used to happen a lot of times. You don't ignore, or there will be bad luck for a year or so. So if I threaten you with bad luck or divine punishment, or that you'll be unlucky or something like that, in that case, it will not constitute extortion, because it's not the intent of the person who is seeking charity to put you in fear of injury. Similarly, if the other person is playing a prank, if I say to someone, there's a close friend, I say to him that either you give you the birthday treat, or will drown you in the river, or you'll not celebrate next birthday. We say a lot of things in jest. That does not constitute extortion. There must be an intent to put a person in fear of injury. That is must in extortion. Okay? So I hope this much is clear. Let's talk about robbery. Now, robbery is either theft or extortion. It's a big brother to these two offenses. Bada bhai. So all robbery is either theft or it is extortion. Now we have to decide or discuss only when theft is robbery And when extortion is robbery. Theft, see, when you are committing theft, if you have caused hurt, if you have caused or you have threatened or you have attempted to cause death, hurt, or wrongful confinement. Confinement means you are confining, you are restricting the movement of a person. That constitutes robbery. I'll give you some examples. See, suppose in order to rob, in order to simply rob a particular place, I know there's a lot of money in this house, and I am a thief, and I know that there is a guard outside. So what I do, I take a knife and I go and stab that guard multiple times so that he dies. I enter and I steal property. Now, what I have committed is theft. But because I committed or attempted to commit murder, hurt, or here I attempted to commit to cause death, obviously, I killed that guard. So in that case, my theft becomes robbery. Now, what I have done is robbery. Now, even if I attempt to kill that person, that is still robbery. Either you have committed, you have attempted to commit, it is still considered as robbery. So while you are committing theft or you are taking away the property, if you cause death, hurt, or wrongful confinement. Hurt, I'll give you another example. See, suppose I enters a particular house in order to steal some things. Now I know because I am stealing things, somebody might wake up, and now the people have they do not sleep very sound. People, generally the quality of sleep have deteriorated because of our dependence on social media. So what I do, I take some chloroform with me, and I go to the people who are sleeping in the house, and I simply spray chloroform on them so that they will sleep and they will not wake up. Even if they hear something or they see something, they will not wake up. So what I have caused? I have caused hurt. So my theft will become robbery. My theft will become robbery because what I have done, I stole the property, but nonetheless, I caused or attempted to cause hurt to them. Similarly, confinement. Confinement, simply bank robbery is robbery because the robber will enter into the bank and he first thing what he'll try to do. He'll try to confine the people who will be there. Means hands up, zameen par let jao, do not move. If you move, I will kill you. They will not allow you to go anywhere. So while what they are doing is essentially theft, taking out the property, movable property out of the possession, everything. But while they are doing so, they are also threatening the other party. That they are threatening other people. They are confining everyone. Sometimes what people do in robbery, that they gather every family member and they confine them to one room so that they cannot escape and call for help. Similarly, in bank robberies or robbery at any random place, what they do is they enter that particular place and they tie up the people who are getting robbed so that theft can take place easily. So theft becomes a robbery the moment there is death, hurt, or confinement, or there is an attempt of doing those things. If I attempt to confine someone, but somebody, let's say, escaped and I am caught, still I'll be punished for robbery because what I did, I attempted to confine those people, or if I attempt to hurt someone, suppose I am going, and I hit someone on the head so that they will pass out and so that I can rob them. That will constitute robbery. That is not theft. See, if somebody is walking and I still pick their pocket, I have not caused hurt, I have not caused death, I have not caused confinement. I take the wallet and I go. That constitutes theft. But the moment I hit that person on the head so that I can take his wallet or purse or mobile phone or gold chain or whatever, that that will become robbery. So theft plus death, hurt या confinement will become robbery. Similarly, extortion may obviously here a threat is made. Now, suppose a threat is made and then threat is backed by fear of instant death, hurt or confinement, that extortion becomes robbery. Now, see, this is Maheen, a little tricky to understand. I'll make you understand. It's very simple. The idea is very simple. Suppose I call somebody and say कि भाई मैं मजनू भाई बोल रहा हूँ, कल तक 4 कोके डिले कर. A very funny movie called Welcome, in which he called कि मजनू भाई, मैं मजनू भाई बोल रहा हूँ, कल तक 5 करोड़ रुपए, you give it to me. Okay. Now this is what we call extortion. And he said कि either you give me 5 crore rupees or I will make your family of 3 into 6 parts, or I'll cut every one of you in half. तो 3 की family 6 हो जाएगी. So it's written. Okay. Now that is obviously extortion. But since he called, that is extortion. But suppose he goes to that person and say, he hand over the money right now, or I will kill you right now. I will hurt you right now. That will constitute robbery. Extortion, when it happens, when the fear is of instant death, hurt or confinement. Extortion में threat तो होता ही है बच्चों, putting the other person in fear of injury. But if that injury is instantaneous and that is to the body, in the sense that I will kill you or hurt you or confine you right now, for that the robber has to be present. He should be he should be present in such a way that he can immediately carry out the threat. अगर मैं आपको धमकी दूं and I am in a position to immediately carry out that धमकी, threat, in that case that extortion will be robbery. I put somebody in fear. Suppose जैसे कि I stop someone. Train robberies कैसे होती है बच्चों? That person comes and say कि everybody hand me over their monies. You give me money or I'll stab you right there. That will constitute robbery. When you are threatening someone, जैसे कि let's say in bank robberies, it either can be theft or extortion, in the sense that if the multiple robbers, they came and they segregated and they're taking the money on their own, that constitutes theft. That becomes robbery. But suppose I go to the cashier and I say, you give me all the money that you have in the cash register or I'll kill you. Now that is extortion, which becomes robbery. Because I'm threatening, I'm not taking the money myself. I am threatening that person that you deliver me the money or I will kill you, and the threat is instant. Extortion mein the threat is need not be instant. If I say to you कि भाई either you pay me the money or आपका बच्चा कल kidnap हो जाएगा. Now that is extortion. But if I say that I have I have kidnapped your child. I am right now kidnapping your child. I will kidnap your child right now. Or you pay me the money. That will become robbery. Whatever the threat may be, if the threat is of instant death, instant hurt or instant confinement, that will constitute robbery. Extortion may, there is generally the person who is making the threat might not be present there, or he might say कि either you pay me within 3 days or I will kill you later. I'll kill you. Then that constitutes extortion. That is not robbery, because the person is giving 3 days time. The threat is not instant. If the threat is not instant, it is not considered as extortion. It is not considered as robbery. It will be considered as extortion, but it will not be considered as robbery. So robbery and extortion में बच्चों क्या फर्क हुआ? When robbery becomes extortion, obviously extortion में the person is put in fear of injury. Now if that injury becomes instant, that threat of injury becomes instant, कि अभी I will kill you, and obviously it is to the human body, in that case it will become robbery. If somebody threatening you that I will destroy your reputation or something, that will not constitute robbery. But when the extortion is in respect of murder, hurt, or confinement, and the same is instant, that constitutes robbery. Okay? As simple as it is. I hope that much is clear. When theft becomes robbery and extortion becomes robbery, and dacoity is very simple. Dacoity is again a extended form of robbery. See, when 5 or more people they commit dacoity, they commit robbery. 5 or more people act in association, commit robbery or attempt to commit robbery, and thus there is participation of 5 people in that act, that constitutes dacoity. In simplest sense, 5 लोग अगर रॉबरी कर देते हैं तो वो डकैती हो जाती है. इसमें महीन बात सिर्फ इतनी है, the technicality in this is only that let's suppose that a person, there are 5 to 10 people who have planned a robbery. So if 10 people planned a robbery, but only 4 went to commit the actual robbery, in that case it will not be dacoity. In order to commit dacoity, first there has to be 5 people who are acting in association with each other, means are acting together, and they all are participating in the act of dacoity. They are present there, and they either are assisting, abetting, or helping. Like I'll give you an example. I'll give you a few examples. See, suppose there are 5 people, and they plan that let's rob a bank. So one person is sitting in front of bank, okay, and he is providing information when the least crowd and the most feasible time of committing that robbery. 4 robbers, they come with a van. One stays in the van so that once robbery is completed, they'll all come and then they will leave together. 3 of them go to inside, they rob the bank, they come outside, and those 4 of them will go. While the 5th person is standing there looking after all that activity. He's supervising that activity or somehow. In that case, it will constitute dacoity because 5 people are actively participating in that act. They are present at the scene of crime. But if there are 5 people and one of them is at a different place, but he's instructing them over a earpiece or something, like to give you a most basic idea, there is a whole show about dacoity called Money Heist. Some of you might have seen it, some of you might not have seen it. It's about a bunch of dacoits only, a bunch of robbers only. So one of them, the leader of that gang, is called a professor, and that professor stays at a different place. And what he does, he coordinates with everyone. He passes on instruction to the dacoits, and they follow his command. So that becomes then what we call is a dacoity is completed. The dacoity is done. But if suppose only 4 people are there and the 5th person is sitting at some place else, so that professor will not be counted as a dacoit. In the sense, if there are only 4 people inside and then there's a professor someplace else, it will not be considered dacoity, it will be considered a robbery only. Because at least 5 people must participate in that act. In the planning, let's say 10 people are involved, 50 people are involved. But in actual offense, if there are less than 5 people, it will not be considered as dacoity. डकैती के लिए 5 लोग होने चाहिए और पांचों पार्टिसिपेट भी करने चाहिए. If they are not participating, it will not be considered dacoity. For dacoity, the participation is must. That is something that has to be kept in mind. Participation is must. Or everyone should participate. Why it is considered a separate offense? Because see, armed robberies has been a very painful experience or a painful time in Bharat when the dacoits were roaming free. Big, huge gangs of dacoits, 50 people. We have seen movies like Sholay and everything when there's a gang of dacoits, they come, they rob people. So if two people are committing robbery, it's a gang of two, it's easier to catch. But when there's a huge gang of dacoits, it's easier. They're difficult to catch. They're difficult to counter because they're armed. So if if an individual police person is there or a small police party is there, do not interfere in that dacoit. That is why it is made as a higher offense. 5 or more people, if they are committing robbery, that constitutes dacoity, for there is a higher punishment. Even being member of a gang of dacoits is an offense. Even preparation of dacoity is an offense. Dacoity of with murder is a separate offense. Dacoity on highways is separate offense. All those aggravated form of dacoity is there. Obviously, when you will come to law school, you will learn all these things. So dacoity, this is all that you have to know about dacoity. So I hope this much is clear. Okay, so obviously this brings us to the end of the lecture. In the next class, we'll also discuss some very interesting thing: criminal breach of trust, cheating, and forgery. We'll discuss all those things. Then we'll complete offences against property in the next class. So thank you so much.